Hey there, buddy. Today, I want to show you how to display a route on a Mapbox map. Earlier, we displayed a basic Mapbox map and added a marker to it. Now, we're going to modify that code to include a route on the map. To display the route, we'll be using the Mapbox Directions API. To understand how it works, let's head over to the Mapbox Digital Playground. It's a great resource for testing out API requests and seeing how the directions are generated. Let's check it out. This is the interface of the Mapbox Digital Playground. On the left side, you'll find options to tweak the API parameters, such as the starting and ending points, transportation mode, and more. On the right side, you'll see the API link and the response that we'll get when we make a request. Let's explore this a bit more. I'm inputting 2 places now. The API requires the locations to be specified by their coordinates. Here you can see it shows the route. You can choose from different routing profiles based on your needs, like walking, cycling, or driving. For this example, I'm going to set it to driving, as it's the most common use case for route visualization. Make sure to set the alternatives option to on if you want to see more than one route. With the other options available, you can tweak your API settings as needed. After tweaking the options, your updated API link will be ready to use. On the right side, you'll see a sample response that you will get from a link. This response includes important information like the route geometry, distance, and estimated travel time. Now that our link is ready, go ahead and copy it for later use. All right, let's start coding and implementing the routing API. First, create an API folder in the src directory. Now create getDirection.js file in it. This file will contain the function that makes the API call to the Mapbox Directions API. First, we need to import Axios in our getDirection.js file. If Axios is not already installed, we need to install it. Now, let's define our function to get directions. We'll export an asynchronous function called getDirection, which takes the starting and ending coordinates as parameters. We'll set up a try-catch block to handle any potential errors during the API call. Inside our try block, we need to access our Mapbox token. We'll retrieve it from the .env.local file. We will use axios.getRequest to a specified URL and wait for its response. Then I'm going to paste the copied API link into the axios.get method. Make sure to put the link in backticks, not single quotes. Let's update the parameters and link. Put the start long between the driving slash and %2c. And put start lat between %2c and %3b. End long between %3b and next %2c. Finally, end lat between %2c and question mark. Now put the token right after access underscore token equals. Our API link is ready. Let's return the response data. At the end, let's handle any errors that might occur using catch block. If there's an error, we'll log it to the console. Our getDirection.js file is now complete. Let's move on to map.jsx and call the getDirection function there. So, let's start by importing the getDirection function in our map.jsx file. For simplicity, let's just hardcode 2 coordinates for now. Or, you could take 2 coordinates as input from the user using the places search box we created in a previous video. Now, let's modify the onload function to display markers at both the start and end coordinates. And here we update the center of the map to the start point. Now, when the map loads, it will be centered on the start point, and we'll see both markers from there. Now, let's run the code to check if markers are being displayed properly or not. Great! The markers are now being displayed properly at both the start and end points. Now, let's fetch the route data using the getDirection function. We'll pass in the start and end coordinates to get the route data. Then, we'll check if the response contains any routes. If not, we'll log an error message and return. If a route is found, we'll extract the route geometry from the response. We used routes of zero.geometry because in Mapbox Digital Playground's response section, we saw we got data in routes array, where the first route was at index 0, and then we had to access the geometry property. Now, let's display the route on the map. To do this, we need to add a source to the map with the route data. We're using a GeoJSON object as the source, which is a standard format for geographic data. The type feature specifies that this is a feature, and the geometry property contains the actual route data. Next, we add a layer to the map to visualize the route. The type line specifies that we want to draw a line, and the source route specifies that we're using the route source we just added. We can customize the appearance of the line using the layout and paint properties. In this case, we're using a round join and cap for the line, and a blue color with a width of 5. This will give us a nice, smooth line that represents the route. We need to make this function async because we're using the await keyword to wait for the API response. If we don't make the function async, JavaScript will throw an error because it doesn't know what to do with the await keyword. By making the function async, we're telling JavaScript that it's okay to pause execution until the API response is received. All right, let's check if the route is being displayed on the map. Great! We've successfully displayed the route on the map. Here we need an improvement that when we first load the map with the route, both the start and end points are not visible because they are not centered on the map. We have to scroll or zoom out to see them together, which is not ideal. We need to find a way to adjust the map's view so that both points are visible and centered on the map. To fix this issue, we can use the map.fitBounds method. First, get all route coordinates. Then, create a boundary around them. This boundary is like a box that includes all points. Pass this boundary to map.fitBounds. Add some extra space with padding so points aren't cut off. Final check, and it's all good. We successfully displayed a route on a Mapbox map using a Vite React project. Thanks for watching.